Hello, my name's Judith Marder. When you're getting ready for international encounters, perhaps the first and most important thing to understand is what the word culture means. Back in the 1950s, two American scholars collected over 140 different uses of the word culture, and today the number might be even higher. So being clear about what we mean when we use the word culture is an important first step. You've probably understood that in this course we understand culture as the discourse communities, plural, to which we relate. In other words, the groups of people, small or large groups, with which we associate in our life, beginning with our family, our local or regional environment, our national and political affiliation, our educational peers and professional colleagues, the people we share common interests with, etc. So, my culture is neither something I'm born with, nor something which necessarily and always stays with me all my life. And, most importantly, it's not one culture to which I belong, but many cultures, which together make up a great part of my individual personality. And not to forget, my cultures or discourse communities may change as I go through life. This is the first point to keep in mind. The second question we should ask is how my culture and my language, or better, my cultures and my languages, connect. In Unit 2 we gave two examples of how cultural codes are embedded in language. One referred to expressing thanks to someone from your family, and the second to different concepts connected with a person looking old. Both these examples may perhaps seem harmless and even easy to resolve. Tell them what you really meant to say and things will be all right again, you may think. In this unit, we'll discuss serious cultural misunderstandings with disastrous consequences. How culture-based misunderstanding can happen is the key question when we look at the Los Angeles riots of April 1992. You may never have heard of them or perhaps forgotten them. In fact, these were the worst ethnic clashes in the history of the USA. 55 people were killed, 2,500 injured, hundreds of shops looted, and over 800 buildings burnt to the ground. How could such a disaster happen in a highly developed and generally civilized country like the USA? Many answers have been suggested, and you can find a great number of reports, analyses and videos on the internet. We recommend looking at some of these, and we give you some helpful links in this unit. Interestingly, the people involved in the Los Angeles riots were mostly Afro-Americans on one side and Korean-American immigrants on the other. Koreans had immigrated to the US in great numbers since the 1980s. Most of them were well educated and brought some money. They could therefore afford to start small businesses or buy shops, e.g. in South Central Los Angeles. So, principally in this conflict, the opposing sides were Korean shop owners and Afro-American customers. From the point of view of Afro-Americans, this might have seemed as just another one of the black versus white clashes, which they'd experienced before. And the situation in Los Angeles had been tense, even before the riots. In 1991, that is a year before the riots began, a man named Rodney King had been stopped by the police for speeding, and was violently beaten up lying on the ground. The next day, a video showing the incident was broadcast by virtually every TV channel worldwide, and Los Angeles' black community, once again, was convinced that the LA Police Department was a brutally racist organization. The situation got even worse when a 15-year-old Afro-American girl named Latasha Harlins was shot in the head by a Korean shop owner who thought the girl was trying to rob her. The black community took this as a proof that the Korean immigrants had taken the side of the white majority population and had also adopted their racist attitudes. During and after the riots, it became clear that the immigrant Korean shop owners and the Afro-American customers held extremely negative views of each other. The stereotypical views they held of one another were in fact so bad that for them the use of extreme force seemed justified. A few years after the riots, a study by Professor Benjamin Bailey provided interesting insights into the underlying reasons for such extreme stereotypes. Based on interviews with people involved in the riots, and on studying videotapes from CCTV cameras installed in Korean-owned shops, he suggested that each side's concept of respect, of how to show respect, or the lack of it, provided the underlying reason for a widespread mutual misunderstanding. Remember, both sides spoke English, but the way they communicated in English was based on specific assumptions of how to show respect, a central aspect of polite behaviour after all. To give you a clear idea of what Professor Bailey found in his research, Korean shop owners would use very little body language. Clearly this was based on their Confucian upbringing, which discourages expressive behaviour of any kind. They would avoid eye contact and speak only as little as was necessary to complete the transactions with their customers. Afro-American customers, on the other hand, based on a completely different upbringing, would speak in a loud voice, they would look the other person in the eye, and generally expect to be recognized as a distinct individual, e.g. by using first names, making small talk, and connecting with the person on the other side of the cash desk. For the Koreans, the Afro-Americans' behavior seemed absolutely unacceptable. In fact, it contained everything they had learnt from childhood on not to do. For them, the swinging walk and noisy self-expression of their Afro-American customers, their expressive body language and insistence on meaningless communication was proof of their poor education and utterly uncivilized behavior. For the Afro-American customers, the Korean shop owners' behavior was absolutely unacceptable. It contained everything they had learned from childhood on not to do. For them, avoiding eye contact was proof of a poor character, or even dishonest intentions. For a shop owner not to talk to a customer and not to establish a sort of personal relationship was a sign of unprofessional behaviour, or perhaps even of pure racism. Here are two statements of Afro-American customers about how they saw the behaviour of Korean shop owners. Afro-American customers often felt they were treated with distrust. Several even felt treated like shoplifters. Here's one dialogue at the cash desk, as documented by one shop's CCTV camera. Once again, both sides spoke English, but the culture-based concepts of respect and how to show respect were different. Even more, both sides were unaware that the criteria for judging the behaviour of others were based on their own cultural conventions, and utterly inappropriate in this intercultural context. How does this connect with our course and to getting ready for intercultural encounters? Perhaps you remember what Gabriel said in his interview in Unit 2 about how he finds some people's ways of speaking English difficult to accept.
With the Southeast Asian way, it's sometimes difficult. I sometimes feel struck. You know, it's very direct. It's like not exactly a shock, but yeah, it's hard sometimes.
What Gabriel means is similar to the LA example, a clash of culture-based politeness concepts. In other words, even if we all use English as our common international language, this does not mean that we will get on with one another in all cases. As long as we use English the same way we use our native language, i.e. the way we learnt it in our own discourse community, misunderstandings and clashes will occur, often without us being aware of the reasons. Furthermore, if we judge the behaviour of others on the basis of what is considered normal in our own cultural environment, the cultural codes hidden in language may create serious misunderstanding. This is what this course is about. What we need to do, therefore, is to prepare for different concepts of politeness and how to express these in a great number of diverse intercultural encounters using English.